So this mugo pine, the way it's planted right here, is very nice. It's got good movement to the trunk, but it's not really showing off the best features of the tree, right? So when you have a bonsai, you want to show off the most interesting parts of the plant because the plant's supposed to tell somewhat of a story, especially if it's a piece of collective material, which this is. So despite the fact that the movement is really nice on the tree, I actually think we can get a little more interest out of the plant by using more of the side of the tree here and raising it up and changing the angle a little bit. We get a little bit more movement out of the plant. It's a wider base, more of the dead wood is here. So I'd like to use this as the front. The biggest issue is that using this as the front, leaning it forward, we get a little bit of a pigeon breast with the bottom part of the tree here. But with bonsai, we have to kind of compromise on certain things. So it's interesting enough from this side to merit using this, even though it's going to be pigeon breasted down here. So I'm going to raise it up, get rid of quite a bit of foliage up here, take some of these back branches, drop them way down, pull them around here, create a more compact bonsai. So I tilted the tree up with the front being somewhere right around the corner of the pot here. To me, the movement is nice here. There was a lot here with the original front, but to me the movement's still good on this side. We see much more of the interesting deadwood, which is the feature I want to show off. We also have this beautiful curvature up here that we're going to expose that was hidden from the front, the original front, so I want to expose that there. I'm going to be taking a lot of these back branches, really bringing them down around towards the front and redesigning the apex of the tree. This will likely be pulled back in a little bit further towards the center of the tree to balance it a little bit more, but I think this will be a little bit more dynamic design for the bonsai. And I try to cut it back to a bifurcating branch system. Alright, so I'm coming up underneath and then grabbing needles through here, making sure I spread everything out like that rather than come through the top from underneath. Alright. We get rid of that, then it exposes this a little bit more. And this right, it really depends on what we do with this and this stuff here. So I don't want too much exposure right here. So it depends on whether or not we pull that to the back and if we can get this far enough down to fill this area in. I think we can, which is why I think we'll probably get rid of this and keep this here. Right, so when I'm going through and removing branches on trees to prepare them for wiring, I'm looking for heavy branches like this one. It comes out of the top of a nice soft horizontal kind of undulating branch. So we could use it by spinning it around, but we've got a lot of nice soft stuff to work with here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this top branch here. Right, and I'll leave a little bit of a stub for right now just as a little safety net for that. So that's what I'm looking for on the tree. So this is the tree after it's been thinned out. You see a little bit more of the structure of the plant, so it'll be easier to get the wire on there, easier to decide which branches we're going to keep and get rid of. Now that we've done this branch in the back here is very heavy. So when we take this branch off, it'll leave a big empty space here. But what we're going to be doing is bringing these branches really far down and around towards the front. And when we do that, this part of the plant is going to fall towards the back a little bit. So this branch up here will actually help replace this foliage. So it's really unnecessary. Another part of it here, you can see it's such a heavy branch coming out of the top section here. And I've been talking about getting rid of the heavy stuff as much as possible. So this is a perfect example of a large branch that's just gotten overgrown. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this one. Stub up here so we can have a little bit of a gin. I don't wanna cut it completely flush because it really won't heal very well. So plus I wanna tie in a little bit of deadwood with the trunk here, up here. So I'm just gonna cut it a little long and then we'll whittle it back to get it to the right size. So the branch here that I cut off, it's a little long now. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the whole thing into a gin, and then later in the process we can decide how small or how big we want to keep it. Right? So it's just a matter of smashing the tissue here and then pulling it off. It's very simple. I also like to leave a little bit of the old bark on the branch just so it blends and makes it look a little more natural rather than wringing the bark here and peeling it all the way off. It looks a little fake in my opinion. So I'll leave a little bit of this old bark on here. branch right here down and around just a little bit. So I want to make sure that the raffia is going in the right direction. In this case, it'll be going clockwise, and then the wire will also be going clockwise, the same direction. So when we pull it down and around, it tightens around the branch rather than loosening. It's a slightly tighter pitch than what I would normally do, but I want to make sure I'm getting on the right side of the curves here, the outside of the curve here, the outside of the curve here, so that I don't break the branch when I pull it down. So it's a little tighter than, say, a 45, but it's necessary in this case. Okay, so I'm trying to lower this section of the branch as much as I can so it doesn't curve so much up, just to get a little bit more of that out. That'll drop the branch down, and then I'll lift the tip up so we get a little more kind of curvature of the branch downward here. In general, this is sort of where I want this branch to be. We may adjust it a little bit more down and in. Next, I want to move this back branch. I don't like this curve here, right? And I don't like the way that this floats up. So I want to pull this way down, take this, and bring it under here if we can get it there. So we have a double layer here, in which case I'll try to pull this up and in just a little more so we don't see so much of this. So I can try to hide this somewhat of a flaw here with the branch coming upward. With this foliage, pull this down around here and eliminate this bow right here. Okay. Hopefully this gin will hold for us. I hope so. Alright, let's see if that should be alright. This is an old gin here, so I just don't want it to break off, you know. Alright, let's keep going a little bit here. Alright, ready? Go.
Set.
Go. There we go, that's moving. Beautiful. Okay, let's see that. Okay, let's try that.
There we go.
Yeah. Up into here to hide some of this. Swing that through here. And then I'm going to drop this down a little here so we can block some of this. So I don't want to see a lot of that. Right? Okay, let's try that. Let me know. Yeah, that's it right there. That's it right there. Okay, let's try that. At this point, we're about halfway done with the tree. I've got the lower branches set and the back branch set here. I brought it around a little bit just to see some of the foliage around the bottom part of the trunk here so that we stop our eye from going too far to the back. We have a little bit of depth there. And the same thing right here. I want this exposed a little bit through here just to keep our eye from going too far to the back as well with this. So the next step is going to be to bring a lot of this down, kind of hide some of this in here. I would consider maybe this sort of a flaw of the tree. So I want to hide that as much as possible. So we're going to bring a lot of this down, create our apex, bring this branch kind of down into here to frame this beautiful curve of the trunk, and then we'll be complete with the tree. I mentioned at the beginning about maybe taking this branch off once we got a few of the other branches placed and the tree thinned out. Now that we've done that, I think we're probably going to keep this branch. We're going to use it kind of to hide some of this. I don't necessarily want to see this part of the trunk. I want to get it nice and low, so this will help us out right here. Same thing here. I'm going to pull that kind of down and around again to frame that, so these two will play together a little bit on different horizontal planes. Okay, let's see what that looks like here.
Okay, let go now, yeah?
Okay, yeah. That's how it goes.
Ready, go!
Yeah. Okay, let's try that. That's perfect. Oh, that's nice. Excellent. So I've set this branch here and this one here to kind of frame our nice bend. Now the issue is you can now see this branch here through the front. So I don't want to see the bottom section of this branch. So I'm going to take this one here, pull it down into this area to hide that back section and also help frame this nice curve here as well. Because bonsai are relatively small, they get visually boring very quickly. So we want to make sure that each pad is on a different horizontal plane or ends on a different vertical plane. So even just a slight difference can make a huge difference in the overall appearance of the tree. So here I've got my lowest one, this one just slightly higher, and this one just slightly higher than this one. So you got somewhat of a stair-step effect, but every pad is on a slightly different level. So I wired this section here. I'm going to take the back branch first and guy wire it down, pull it down into this area so we have some depth to the tree. This branch, like I mentioned earlier, is going to replace the one we took off here. So it's going to sit back to the back, fill that area in. And I'm going to use this foliage here to hide this big curve of the branch. And it's going to sit right here. And it's going to sort of tie into the apex once I get this all wired up and bring it around. Right, so pull from here to here, raise it in, and then swing this in. Good. Okay, that's good. Let's see if that holds. Second, you raise the sector. Okay, let's try that. See if it'll hold this. Nothing really that deep. Whole apex wired at this point, and now I'm going to set it, but right before I do that I'm going to take the bottom branches and raise them up just a little bit more with the guy wire here. Now that we've got the upper part set here, you can see there's too much separation between the lower pads and the upper area, so I'm going to pull those up first, and then last I'll set the apex. This is the final styling of the tree. I brought the apex down nice and low towards the front. Gives the tree an older appearance, more powerful appearance. The back side of the tree is a little bald, but that's to be expected because I brought quite a bit of the foliage towards the front. In the future, we have a few buds back here. Now that the light is going to hit this in the future, it'll get a little bit stronger and it'll fill in. So I give it maybe 2 more growing seasons and we'll have a nice, fully complete round apex at the top.